I am Russ Anderson. Thank you. So we're going to have a good time today. We're going to make sure you're going to learn a little something and you're going to have a good time. So we promise you that. So let's go ahead and get started. Want to also, he just slid in there, Ruben Salazar, our illustrious leader. So if you have any questions, please populate it in the chat at all during this presentation. And we're absolutely going to take good care of you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going. All right. First and foremost is we are Assa Abloy. We're out of Phoenix, Arizona, but that's not just the brands that we have access to. There's also our sister companies like Sargent, Corbin Russman, Seco Doors, Rixson Norton. There are a lot of solutions out there that fall up under the Assa Abloy umbrella. So you may have seen some of those products out there, those solutions out there, didn't even know it's an Assa Abloy solution. So please don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to ask. If we don't manufacture it here in Phoenix, Arizona, we know where that solution or product, or we can help you find it. Okay, so don't say no to any any opportunities without checking with us. All right. Just to give you a snapshot of some of the innovative products that Assa Abloy is now creating and manufacturing, we got industrial gate locks, cabinet locks, electromagnetic locks, which we'll be talking about today, access egress accessories such as digital keypads and card readers, electric strikes, wireless cabinet locks, aluminum storefront hardware, and many, many, many more solutions out there. So there have been more innovative products created in the last 10 years than the last 100. And that's because the customer's expectations have changed, okay? They have changed. So don't say no to any opportunity without checking with somebody from Assa Abloy, all right? So real quick, we can talk about warranty because we're gonna be talking about magnetic locks. The cool thing about Securetron magnetic locks is they have a MagnaCare lifetime, no questions asked warranty. So that is absolutely amazing to have a manufacturer give you a warranty like that. And it covers virtually everything, okay? Drops, over volts, over amps, rust. I mean, it covers a lot of different stuff. So if you have any questions about warranty, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we will get you taken care of, all right? So next thing is safety, 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 all right? You have to be safe. Regardless of where you are in this industry, you could be an architect, project manager, technician, it really doesn't matter. You need to do your risk mitigation before you go out to the field or, take part of any activity because, you want to make sure that you are going home every day the same way that you came in. All right, so check for falls, check for exposed wires. All these things are very, very important. Now, social distancing, very important to make sure you're safe and be smart when you're out and about. All right, so let's go ahead. We done already kind of did some of our housework here. So we're going to talk a little bit about magnetic locks. First things, Maglocks been around a long time. A lot of people don't realize that. They've been around since 1969, okay? A long time. And then it was patented in 1883, the first electric locking device, the electric strike. So access control has been around quite a bit. But the thing about these particular products, if you don't get the training, bad things happen. And that's one of the biggest conflicts with magnetic locks, not getting the training, putting them in the wrong place, not taking the time to put a good quality installation together. So it's so important, okay? So be aware of that. There is training available for you so you can avoid these things, all right? So today's agenda, what we're gonna be talking about, we already did our welcome. We're gonna talk a little bit about code because Maglocks are very code driven. Some of the Maglocks that fit your need, Maglock application, then some of the supports that are available to you. So I'm telling you, we've got a power-packed hour. And if you have any questions, please, especially with magnetic locks, populate it in the chat. There are no bad questions, okay? And we want to make sure you are smarter in the next, 50 minutes than you are right now. That's our goal. Plus you have a good time. All right. So let's jump into codes. That's the biggest deal when it comes to magnetic locks or the a lot of the demystification we have to do out in the field when it comes to magnetic locks, right? And that's because there's, people find ambiguity when it comes to the code, building codes, fire codes, electric codes, life safety codes, which codes are adopted, which codes apply. I mean, there's a myth that, Maglocks are banned unless there's a written amendment of policy in that local municipality that basically amends the current code. There's nothing that says that, okay? Not in IBC, not in NFPA, not in AFC. You just have to adhere to certain code requirements. Now the AHJ, he can write, a local policy or something in addition to restrict magnetic lock use. But in the base codes, you don't see that kind of thing, all right? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But let's give you some nuts and bolts when it comes to magnetic lock use, all right? There's two ways to release a magnetic lock. This is the most common way that you're going to see out in the field. You will have a push to exit button, 30-second timer already integrated in it with a motion sensor, and it's tied to, to the fire alarm. So if anything happens, it drops power to your access control system, your doors swing freely. That's the most common way you're going to see it out in the field. But there is another way that you're going to see releasing a magnetic lock, and it's based on what year code you fall up under. And we're going to talk more about that. All right. Here's a second way. Now you're starting to see, switches put into these common devices that are already out there in order to drop power to your magnetic lock. And you can see the difference, right? Where you have push to exit button, motion sensor, and then your fire alarm panel. But guess what? There's some different things here. With the 2009 plus code, all you have to do is put a switch in the product, drops power to the magnetic lock, and now you don't have to be tied into the fire alarm. Pretty interesting, right? Big difference. So you have to make sure you know what code you fall up under. If there's everyday questions when it comes to code, that's when you reach out to us. We can do that little bit of a legwork. Me and Roger been to a lot of states and cities, so we know the general of what the code officials are looking for, or we can tell you where to look, okay? So don't hesitate to use us as a resource. So here's some examples of those magnetically locked doors per code. So 2000 plus code, as you can see, motion sensor, push the exit button with the magnetic lock tied to the fire alarm panel. Boom. Easy peasy, very common out in the field. But then our 2009, you see there's a dual sense bar here. You press the bar, hits the switch, drop power to the magnetic lock. So you see the codes that they fall up under, but even more, let's look at the codes. Exactly. City of Austin, strictest mag lock use, absolutely. So if you're in Austin, be aware of that. Have a good dialogue with your AHJ if you ever consider using a magnetic lock, okay? So be aware of that. Know what your AHJ wants. So this is right out of IBC 2018 ICC. Just like we were saying, okay, you have to have your sensor installed on the egress side, really simple. So it detects somebody as they're walking up under, drops power to the magnetic lock. Electric lock and arrange to unlock the signal from a loss of power, doors open. Loss of power to the lock or the locking system automatically unlocks the door. That's what the code says. It doesn't say magnetic locks are banned, okay? So let's keep on looking here. Just an overview. We do have a codes class specifically for these. So, look on our calendar, check our on-demand library if you want to get more and more into the weeds when it comes to codes, okay? But this is just a broad overview when it comes to that, all right? So let's take a look a little bit more. All right, ICC, IBC 2018, again, doors shall be arranged from manual unlocking devices. And this concerns the push exit button located 40 to 48 inches vertically above the floor within 5 feet of the secure door. That's very direct, okay? So needs to say push to exit and the door will remain unlocked for 30 seconds. Pretty simple, all right? No ambiguity to that. Activation of the fire alarm, where provided, if they haven't, okay? And there are some caveats that we'll talk about. If the fire alarm is activated, basically your door swings freely. The access control system is now, no power to it, so the door swings freely. Activation of building automatic sprinkler systems, same thing. If it's activated for any reason, boom, your doors swing freely, okay? So door locking system, this is important right here, will be enlisted in accordance with UL 294. Make sure your electronic products has this UL certification, okay? So it should say it, you know, right on the box, okay? UL 294, AHJs will ask for this depending on where you are in the country. So make sure that your door locking systems meet this specification, okay? All right, and then let's look at some of the, you know, that was one way to release the door. Here's the second way, all right? IBC 2018, electric locking systems on the door shall be permitted means of egress except for group H, okay? Except for group H, so there's your exception here. And it says the door hard will be affixed on the door leaf obvious method of egress. So once you hit that door with one hand, bam, interrupts power to the electronic lock. Loss of power, still the same thing as the previous one, unlocks the door. Panic exit devices where, you know, required, make sure that the panic devices and fire exit hardware releases the electric lock too. So make sure it falls again within UL 294 requirements. So, I mean, that's just a quick overview of magnetic lock locking based on 2000 plus to 2009 plus codes. Okay, those are your two main ways that you will see doors unlock. Again, if you have any questions on that, you know, that's what we're here for. We enjoy answering those questions, okay? Absolutely, you can add a switch to many bars or many of those pre-existing, you know, as long as they are able to be electrified, you know, to drop power to the Maglock, as long as you fall up under that specific code. So just be aware of that. That's great. Thank you, Roger. So let's ask yourself, we got a polling question coming up. All right. Do we have, there we go. Thank you, Katie. How often should magnetic lock circuits required to be inspected by code? Does anybody know that answer? Go ahead and populate that in, you know, on our poll. What do you guys think? All right, 13 out of 24, keep going. We're gonna let a few more people answer there. I'm gonna give you the right answer, so it's okay. $14 out of 24. Come on, where's everybody at now? Hope you didn't log on and then walk away. We should see some, there we go, see some numbers here. 17. All right, okay, let's go ahead and end it. And we'll flip this around so everybody can see it. Thank you so much, Katie. All right, so quite a few people think that maglocks are not regulated. So that's an interesting answer. But the correct answer is, guess what? Right out of the code, magnetic locks are required to be inspected by code annually. Annually, every year, magnetic locks are required by code to be inspected by, you know, annually. Okay, so that's very important to know when you install a magnetic lock. Annually is a very important number to remember. Okay, and that's right out of the code, So we're not making anything up here. All right, so let's keep on going. That's good information. Thank you guys for participating. Appreciate that. Makes my job a lot easier. So let's keep on going here. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the maglocks that fit your needs. And that's so important to know because we pose these questions all the time. Where should I use a magnetic lock? And most people will say, well, it's the last thing that I choose. Unless there's no other solution, I go with a magnetic lock. Now, there are openings that are inherently a little bit better for magnetic locks versus other solutions, okay? So we have aluminum storefront. Absolutely can use a magnetic lock, especially those double active leaves. They are very hard to secure, okay? So especially if you want them both actively controlled independently. Glass openings, another opportunity for our magnetic locks, okay? Some of those places where it's just gonna be difficult or just not, just maybe your skill level, your technician could core drill that door, getting that power. Look at all that glass on some of the bottom doors. You're not going to be, it's going to be difficult. So there are some specialty openings out there where you can use magnetic locks. So we're going to talk about some of those openings, but it's important to know where and when to use magnetic locks. That's the important thing, okay? Where and when to use magnetic lock, and it's based off certain criteria here. All right, so let's advance here. First and foremost is holding strength. There are all different types of magnetic locks with different types of holding strengths. We got from 200 pounds all the way up to 1,800 pounds. That is a lot of holding strength here. But you can't just arbitrarily just throw any one of these magnetic locks on the door. So we recommend interior doors, 600 pounds. Exterior doors, 1,200 pounds. High security openings, 1,800 pounds. Okay, so, we use that as a basis for a recommendation. So you'll see 200 pounds to 300 pound magnetic locks on cabinets, those types of things, smaller openings. But also you want to take in consideration the frame type, the mounting. That is a very big deal. Foundation for the magnetic lock. Security level. What is a security level that's required by the customer? Okay, what is the value of the pieces and parts and inventory or, that's stored behind that door, okay? And then just having the right skill set as far as your technician is concerned, knowing what tools they need to install the magnetic lock, glues, if they're using for all glass openings. So that's important to know those things. Don't just specify a solution and not know that your technician is familiar with it or they can install it, because that makes it problematic, okay? So very important, those things to consider. That's why site surveys are so important. You'll hear me and Roger will say it 3 and 4 times throughout any presentation: site survey code, site survey code, site survey code. I just said mine's 3 times, okay? So it's very important to collect that information and know what codes apply so you can make the correct recommendation, an educated recommendation to the customer, okay? So let's take a look at some of these magnetic locks here. This is the M32 direct mounted mag locks for, like we said, for interior openings is what we're going to recommend those for. The M62 1,200 pound mag lock for exterior doors, 1,800. Bondstat is included, and we'll tell you what Bondstat is in just a few moments. And then we get our DM62 for double active leads. Okay, so 2 independent mag locks controlling each independent door. And then we have some of our specialty locks like our shear locks that you can install on top side or bottom. And then our M34 500 pound recess magnetic lock. So there's a lot of solutions out there, but these are not interchangeable. There are certain solutions for certain magnetic locks. And we're going to show you some of those so everybody knows, because we see this a lot, is putting, a magnetic lock in the wrong opening and it's not doing exactly what it's supposed to do because it's made for a certain solution, okay? So we also have our bracketed mounted magnetic locks. If you didn't know, some of these magnetic locks can be a little bit heavy, so it makes it a little bit easier install. You install the bracket, there's a lot of adjustability to the bracket, so you can line up your magnetic lock with your strike plate a lot easier here. And it still has all of the same advantages of your direct mounted mag locks here. This one actually has LED door position switches available with it for in-swing and out-swing doors. Perfect for high traffic, high security, fail-safe, delayed egress systems. And we're going to talk about delayed egress. That's a very big deal nowadays, okay? So if you want something that has a little bit more flexibility, your bracketed mounted mag locks are definitely the way to go, all right? Okay, and then here's some of the specialty magnetic locks. Perimeter security, the M62FJ-SAM. This is a really great solution. If you're dealing with an existing perimeter security, posts, gates, this is perfect for that. Perfect for that. We have the FMK gate. Basically, it's a bracket that you put onto the gate. Doesn't matter if it's round, square, whatever the case may be. It's boltable and weldable, and you can use the 62FG and work it in conjunction with that. So it works really well. You really want to start thinking about perimeter security, okay? It is an emerging market. Stopping people from getting on the perimeter of the property versus at the door is a very big deal now, okay? So definitely want to consider those things, okay? Whoop. So let's take a look at this magnetic lock here. Looks like it's an M62, but you see it's rusted, corroded, those type of things from being outside. Guess what? It falls up under warranty. You can absolutely replace this under warranty. Okay, so that's an amazing thing. But we're going to give you some tips and techniques in order to extend the life of that magnetic lock. A little soap and water will go a long way, especially in those areas where you get salt on the ground and inclement weather. Just wipe it off with a little Dawn and some warm water. It extends the life of that magnetic lock tremendously, okay? And when you also see the little icon above that magnetic lock, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. That is definitely a vital resource to have for you, and we're going to give that to you. Then we have our MM15. This is a very small, compact magnetic lock, but a high holding strength. You can use these on glass openings, small platform. I mean, it's really not that big for such a high holding force that it has, okay? You see these in banks, glass openings. I mean, it's a really popular product for those high security areas here. And then the delayed egress. And we're going to talk about that because delayed egress is a very important and it's an emerging part of our industry. A lot of organizations are wanting delayed egress. And we're going to talk a little bit about code when it comes to that too. All right. So the IMXDA, the IEXDA, is a great solution here. Now, let's talk about code. A lot of code officials, like you see at the bottom of this screen, the Denver modification, AHJs are asking for delayed egress shall be in one component and not in multiple components. You can't put a mag lock with a timer with an initiate device and put it together in order to do delayed egress. Some AHJs don't want to see that anymore. They want to see it all in one component. And the IMXDA does that. Okay, one solution, all in one. And the cool thing about it, they've made some very cool modifications. It's only about 2.5 inches long, so it makes a good, it's not very big. You should probably get it on most doors, okay, when it comes to that. And that delayed egress, and there's a lot of configurable or flexibility with the dip switches on this one here. You can adjust from 15 seconds to 30 seconds with this particular product. A lot of cool features with this. If you need any more information on the IMXDA, absolutely reach out to us and we can get you that information. But definitely want to check with your AHJ with this. But one more delayed egress is coming soon, okay? It's coming soon because you can see the IMXDA has a little bit more of an industrial look, okay? But Assa Abloy takes the time to add aesthetics, a good looking product so it doesn't detract from the opening. So now we are getting, hopefully soon, releasing, if I can get it to come up, the DEM 680E Eco Mag, okay? So absolutely, this is a great, good-looking solution here for hospitals, elderly care, psychiatric detention. Loss prevention is another good place. You're going to see that in retail stores on those doors that shouldn't be used. The customer should be using the main entryway. So if somebody's hitting those back doors, you know, that's not a good thing. So as a delayed egress, you can put some type of initiate or a buzzer or LED so the asset protection people can come and see what's going on with that particular opening. It looks nice, adds that aesthetics, you know, doesn't detract from the opening here. So should be coming soon. We'll let you know as soon as this is available, okay? We also have some additional Eco Max that I'm gonna talk about here. There's a whole line of them. The Securetron M680E BD, and there's a whole bunch of different acronyms. I'm not gonna go into all of it, but the cool thing about this is the magnetic locks, basically when the door is propped open, the magnetic lock drops down to almost 20 millivolts of, so it's not using the same amount. Like typically, most mag locks are about 300 milliamps worth of power. It's a huge savings when you're able to basically have the magnetic lock go to sleep until it's needed to be used, okay? So you got their 380, which is 600 pounds of holding force. You can get them with multiple different features. This comes with BondStat, the EBD Eco BondStat. We also have one with the Rex already in it. There you go. The Rex is already, and that's the M380 EBDX, okay? So already has a Rex in it. So now you don't have to put a motion sensor in addition. So it's already built in. That's a huge time saver. And we also have a 1,200 pound mag lock with those same features with BondStat, Eco, and then we have the one with the Rex in it integrated as well. Available in multiple different finishes. So take advantage of that. It's bracketed mounted install, really easy install. Installed a couple of these myself. So you'll definitely like that. All right. Okay. So some of the other additional things when it comes to magnetic locks. Some of the terms associated with magnetic locks, offset strikes, offset strikes. There's a lot of S's in this presentation, okay? So moves the mounting holes off center so you can basically made it up in a more appropriate manner when you're dealing with those weird frames and doors, okay? You also have the split strike, okay? So if you want to control a pair of doors with one magnetic lock. And that's a very common thing out there. You can put a 1,200 pound mag lock in the middle of the door, especially ones without the mullion in it, and you're able to control those leafs. You just release both of them at the same time. And then there's something unique to us, the aerospace collapsing blind nut, okay? Threaded, cramped into the frame, 1,000 pounds of tensile strength per nut. Okay, that's a big deal. And a lot of our competitors use self-tapping screws. Okay, be aware of that. Those magnetic locks typically are taking an impact because you'll be surprised how many people are using the magnetic lock as door stops. It hits that magnetic lock with that self-tapping screw, it's gonna come out. Okay, you just don't want that phone call. Hey, a magnetic lock came out of the frame and hit little Johnny on the head, okay? So you don't have to worry about this with these, okay? It is 1,000 pounds at each attachment point. That's huge. You can hang from it, and it's not going anywhere. Okay, so absolutely you can get a bag of these. They come with all of our Securetron magnetic locks. Use them on any type of install. It's definitely going to help you out. All right. There you go. Thank you, Roger. All right, BondStat, we said we're going to talk about this here. So it just basically notifies you, your access control system or your alarm system, that your door has accurately secured. So when it's completely mated, you don't have any problems. You got the armature plate with the, let me see if I can point to it, the armature plate here, completely mated with these strips here, you're good to go. But if it like goes cockeyed or off center, it has a normally open contact to let you know, hey, there's something going on with the door. So absolutely let me know, okay? Increased weather resistant, corrosion proof. It has a film sprayed on it. It really, there's no reason why a Securetron mag lock should not last 20 years easy, okay? Just got to maintain it, keep it clean, and you're good to go, all right? And then we have a couple of other additional features. Again, you have to go back to code. The SBMXD initiate device here allows, you know, to initiate any signal for delayed egress. So if you already got a magnetic lock on the door, you've got, you know, push, you know, a RMXDA device or dual sense bar or something like that with a switch in it or something like that, and activate that initiate. Just be aware, you know, make sure you're able to use multiple different components in your particular city municipality if you're going to be using delayed egress or it requires that one all-in-one component. Then we have the energy absorbing bolt, okay? Because again, you know, you hear that click, okay? Absorbs that impact. Thank you, Roger, appreciate that. Absorbs that impact so it extends the life of that solution. So very easy product to install. You definitely want to put these on all magnetically locked doors, okay? All right, so if you've not installed a magnetic lock, you don't know what tools, this is the box for you here. It's called the IK Installation Kit, okay? It has everything you need to install your magnetic lock. Drill guides, blind nuts, washers, everything you could possibly need. Plus, it even has the cool cocking tool that you can just drill the hole and pop, and then you are able to put your blind nut in. It's a lot easier than using the crescent wrench and a box wrench and have it collapse down. So that's definitely a recommendation for me to you to get that tool, okay? You can get that from us. And then here's some of the solutions for magnetic locks. Glass doors. Anybody done a glass door yet? Done access control on a glass door? Go ahead and raise your hand if you've done that. I know Roger has, right? Okay, Kevin, okay. So there's a few of you out there. Glass doors are not going anywhere. I can tell you that right now. They're gonna get more sophisticated, more intelligent, and they're gonna say, hey, just leave it to the door guys to figure out how to secure this. So we've got solutions, and magnetic locks inherently a good solution for all glass openings. Okay, the AKG adhesive kit here, you glue your bracket onto the glass. It's a great solution for magnetic locks. But let's talk about some of the other frames that are out there, okay, and why it's important to do that site survey. Well, do that site survey. And that's because there can be multiple different types of openings in your building, okay? And in each one of those openings could be aluminum storefront, could be 18 gauge knockdown frame, could be glass, could be wood. There's different mounting brackets for magnetic locks depending on what type of frame you're dealing with, okay? So that's very, very important to take a good look at that. You need to have that 2.5 inches, well, I'm sure we're going to show you a flat mounting space to ensure that your magnetic lock is anchored correctly. If your magnetic lock is not anchored correctly, there's a possibility for liability, okay? So we want to make sure you have this information. And I think, yep, Katie just populated it into the chat. That's a nice little cheat sheet. If you're looking at aluminum storefront, hollow metal, concrete, I mean, all the different frames are out there. We got nice little cheat sheet. So click that link, download that to your electronic device. I'm telling you, it's going to save you some heartache, okay? And this leads us to our next polling question here. All right. What percentage of technicians go out to the job site without the correct mounting brackets? You'll be surprised. This is our own poll, okay? So what do you think? How often do you think that happens? All right, we got 13. Keep going, keep going. $14, come on, a few more, please. Thank you, folks, who are participating. $30, 40 seconds, all right. I think it's stopped now, so if you can stop that, Katie, for me, flip it around. All right, most of you are right. 70% of technicians, this is our own little poll, actually go out to the site without the correct mounting brackets. You'd be surprised how often that happens. And now the technician has got to go back, to their service center, get the right bracket. Hopefully they have it, or even if they may have to order it or go to your local distributor, hopefully they have it in stock. That can be a huge problem, okay? So that's definitely time lost. And it's not a very professional look. So, doing your site survey, these are the little things you want to write down. Okay, I'm going with a magnetic lock. I've got aluminum storefront frame, so I'm going to need the ASB bracket. Okay, something simple like that. That way the technician has everything they need to do that install. All right, so let's stop sharing here. Close that out and keep on going. So I appreciate you guys that are hanging in there with us. All right, so let's take a look at this here. So mounting brackets and accessories, it's so important to make sure you have the right mounting bracket. Again, 2.5 inches of flat mounting space, you are definitely going to need to ensure proper anchoring of your magnetic lock, okay? So as you can see, it gives you a graphic representation of what the bracket's going to do. Like you see at the bottom left of it, it has the AHP, has a you know, a center in there in the middle. So you have to put the ASB in there to create that 2.5 inches of flat mounting space in order to anchor the magnetic lock correctly, as well as, you know, all the other different configurations out there. You got door stops, thicker ones in the middle. Okay, you've got a universal header bracket for those that has that L type shape. There's all different types of brackets and frames out there. I wish that everybody can get together and have one type of frame, but that's just not how it goes. So we have to make brackets for all the different types of frames. Okay. All right. So again, like we said, 2.5 inches of flat mounting space is so important for proper anchoring. But then now there are some frames out there that you're just not going to be able to do and cannot be able to create that 2.5 inches of flat mounting space. So your TJ bracket and your Z bracket is a go-to. You can face mount your magnetic lock if it's bracketed, absolutely no problem, or you can do a direct mounted mag lock. It's on the secure side of your door. It's not the most attractive install, but it works, and you'd be surprised how often you can go to this. And I've seen this on multiple different solutions, okay? So you can always go with that T bracket or that Z bracket, TJ bracket or Z bracket, all right? All right, awesome. So let's take a look at some of the magnetic lock applications, but the important thing to consider when you're looking at application is you want to find the right solution for your opening, okay? So you want to consider function, codes, surroundings, what's surrounding your opening. I had a tickle there. Existing conditions, and then some of the restrictions that you may have to adhere to. And that restriction can be something like code or when you actually are able to do the installation, okay? So pay attention to the opening, the frame type, all right? Existing hardware that's already on the opening, that's an important thing to consider. And then familiarity with the electronic hardware options, okay? Know that there may be more than one solution available to you. So that's why that site survey is so important. And the cool thing about this, each and every one of these doors can be in that building, okay? So there's gonna be different solutions for your glass, for your regular wood door here, or your aluminum storefront double active leaf with the crash bars. So be aware of that, different solutions, have that conversation with the customer, so important. And remember, access control is only a part of your layer security. There is CCTV, there's other security systems as well, okay? So remember that as you're talking to the customer. You wanna know what's existing already on the door, and note that. That is very, very important. You may run across mortise locks with deadbolts, Pullman latches, cylindrical locks, unit locks, rim exit devices. Know how it's being used, what the latch bolt size is, a pass room, classroom, storage room. All of these things are very important to kind of jot down because it will impact the solution that you choose, as well as how it's going to work, okay? It's always good, and Roger tells you, it's always good to have some type of latching, even with magnetic locks. So be aware of that, you know, how that's gonna work and how it's all gonna work together. All right, when you're looking at aluminum storefront, there's all different types of hardware out there. Dead latches, Pullman latches, star wheels, deadbolts, hook bolts, rim exit device. Just kind of know how everything is gonna work. You may have to dog some things down or disable those things in order for your magnetic lock to work effectively, or maybe you're gonna work it in conjunction with that magnetic lock, okay? So maybe like on the Pullman latch, you're gonna, if you fall up under 2009 plus codes, you can put a switch in your Pullman latch, hit the door, bam, drop power to your magnetic lock kind of thing, okay? So also vertical rod latching, that's an important thing to consider, especially the latching points, okay? Is it a Pullman latch up at the top? Is it the ball, or is it the turn one, the turn kinds that you see out there? You may have to disable that bar, or maybe there's retrofits to electrify it. So be aware of those things. You've, again, taken a good look at the openings before you make a informed recommendation is paramount to giving the right solution to the right opening, okay? All right, so let's take a look at this lock, this particular opening here. First and foremost, quality needs some work here, right? It's just take a look at this magnetic lock up at the top here. I don't know if it's starting to sag or if it was just installed that way. So you really want to be aware of those types of things. That could be a problem later on down the line. How about the door loops here? I mean, you can install them that way, but it's a cheap, fast, easy way. But you know, we're going to recommend that you put them up here so it doesn't get hung up on anything, especially if it's a high activity opening. Okay, school systems, those types of things, kids will swing on them, pull on them, that kind of thing. All right, so you really want to pay attention to that. Maybe the customer doesn't want a mullion in the middle. How about single or double magnetic locks? Again, it goes to what the customer wants. All right, does he just want both doors to swing freely at the same time, or does he want to control them independently? All right, so that's going to definitely, you know, tell you how many magnetic locks you're going to be using. So hopefully this is under 2009 plus code because it has a, you know, an exit bar on it tied to the magnetic lock. Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion sensor or push the exit button. Okay, so definitely want to be aware of code, and you want to be aware of quality. Take a look at these are real pictures from the field. All right, not good, not good. This was installed maybe multiple times in order to mate the strike plate correctly with the magnetic lock. All right, take a look at the bottom one there. You got your magnetic lock. Oh, they look like they use some nails or something with those. All right, so just be aware, quality is so important. Definitely the bottom right, that the manufacturers did not put these screws in with this particular magnetic lock, but this is one of the more incorrectly installed products out in the field, okay? So getting training on proper magnetic lock installation is so important. We also have videos. There's videos for magnetic locks throughout YouTube. So educate yourself when it comes to that type of thing. All glass openings, magnetic locks. First thing you want to do during your site survey is there a header or no header? If there's a header, it makes life a little bit easier. If there's no header, then hey, we got to start thinking a little bit, you know, a little bit more critically. I'm going to have to possibly think about some type of you know, gluing brackets onto the glass. Okay, so very important. Again, you see that little icon up there that's very useful to you when you get ready to make a recommendation. You just don't know what to do. That icon is going to be very important to you. Okay, here's some examples of all glass doors mounting here. Solid frames, you want to support the mounting. That's very important. Anchoring is so important. And again, do not use your magnetic lock as a door stop. There are door stops that you can buy. Don't use your magnetic lock as a door stop because eventually it's going to come out of the frame. So be aware of that, okay? All right. No questions. Here's some other examples here. Single door with a DPS. This is actually really nice looking, very clean looking. Has a Rex at the top of the top left one here, and then you go down to the bottom right one here. But again, I don't see a door stop. So be aware of those things. Think about that. But it is a decent looking install. All right, double door magnetic lock with the DM install, controlling both leads cleanly. It's a little, you know, and it just depends on your creativity or your artistry from the industry. Some people like the DM, the double, you know, single mount for 2 magnetic locks, or do your single ones. It just depends on the look that you're looking for. Okay, so it's a good install though, nevertheless. But this is ones I kind of like. This is a good looking install. They went the brass dress covers on it that are available, and then they have the door stop in the middle. Okay, so good looking install, good and smart, right? So it works very well. Then we have other applications like we were talking about, our shear magnetic lock here. Low security for this one here, wood frames for those small, you know, hard to fit openings here. You can use those shear locks. Just again, use our tech support if you have any questions on the use of this one. It's a very small magnetic lock, 600 pounds interior opening type of thing. So really good for those hard to fit openings here. All right. Here is an incorrect install for a shear lock. These are swing through doors. And we see people try these, you know, all the time because they just don't know what to use. You know, in the beginning, this might work, okay? It might work, but due to door use, door sag, you're just asking for trouble, okay? So you'll have to go out to these doors, you know, and adjust them if you're gonna go with this solution. There are other solutions for this. Again, like you saw the previous slide, a door stop with the magnetic lock on each side, probably the one you wanna go with on this, okay? It won't be a swing through door, you know, make sure it just goes in path of egress, but you just have to have that conversation with your customer when it comes to those types of things. Here's an example of shear magnetic lock installs. They use 2 screws for your tab kit to make sure it's installed and it's secure. Boom, perfect. I like that, okay? So that's a good way of being able to do that. But here's another one here with the elevators. You're starting to see that type of thing now. Just be aware, we're door people, we're not elevator people. There are specific certifications working with elevators, you know, so, you know what you can and can't do by code when it comes to these types of things, okay? Annual inspections, the fire connections, if you're fire alarm certified, that type of thing, you can probably look at the wiring and the wiring connection. There's really no reason for you to be in the elevator at all. So just be aware of what your license covers, okay? And what your liability can cover, okay? So be aware of those things. You're starting to see magnetic locks using a lot of different unique places here. Reverse mounted, like we're talking about that Z bracket, that TJ bracket here. For warehouse, again, industrial look, okay? So it works. It's just not that attractive. Lawn Controls has a nice cover that you can use on it, just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but it definitely works, okay? Now let's take a look at this one here. There may be some problem. There's a magnetic lock on this door here, fitness center with a motion sensor, 30-second timer. Okay, I think that's a motion sensor, but I'm looking for that 30-second timer here. So make sure you are adhering to code, especially with magnetic locks, adhere to code. And we see a lot of examples of that. Make sure there's a variance. So you walk up to a door that isn't code compliant, make sure there's a variance somewhere or ask the customer about it. If it's not correct, then they can't justify or show you documentation on why that door is the way it is, you may want to run away from it screaming. I'm telling you that right now, okay? There could definitely be problems. Again, fence and gates and outdoor rating, that's a big deal. Our direct mounted mag locks are 32, our 62, our 82 outdoor rated magnetic locks, okay? So make sure if you're using something, even on an exterior door, it is outdoor rated, mean it can stand up to that weather, okay? Like we were saying before, we got FMKs, it can affix to all these different types of gates and fences. Make sure if you're getting into perimeter security that you're using the right cable, burying the right cable, so you don't have any issues with that, okay? Use a protective collar as needed as well, so people can't reach in or use a string to pull on a ring magnetic device, drop power to your magnetic lock. So think about that, okay? Here's another picture here. On an exterior door, water was getting to it, definitely not an outdoor rated product, okay? And it started to rust. So make sure it should say outdoor rating on it. We have icons on all of our products here that says outdoor rating, okay? So that's an important thing. On exterior doors and anything that you're gonna be using outside, that's so important. So let's see here, what are some things that we need to consider here, okay? First and foremost, we're gonna tell you, hey, code, what's the first thing? Do my site survey, where's this door going? What code applies? That's what we're looking at as we're looking at this with a critical eye. Some of the solutions, maybe electrify the bar, okay? What's the skill set of the technician? What's surrounding? Is that cinder block? Is that drywall? How am I gonna get wired down to those solutions? That's an important thing, okay? All right, magnetic lock, it's not fire rated. So what are we gonna do with the vertical rods? Are we gonna remove them? Are we gonna disable them? You know, these are questions. Existing, bars can have a switch to it depending on what code you fall up under, okay? So great power to that magnetic lock. Should we use one magnetic lock or two single, 600-pound magnetic locks? These are very important things to consider. And again, having that conversation with your customer is so important. Do not try and specify access control over the phone. And we see people do it all the time. And then there's problems. And guess who gets those problems? The technician. When they're out there doing that install. and the customer saying, well, I didn't want that. I didn't expect that. Okay, so make sure you have that conversation. Here's some other examples. The strike plates are a very important aspect when it comes to magnetic lock insulation. They come with rubber washers. You have to use those, okay? That strike plate cannot be just flush against the door or cranked down. We see that so many times. Make sure you're using the pieces and parts per manufacturer installation. That is so important, okay? Again, these are real pictures from openings in the field, okay? We're not making this stuff up. This goes on all the time because people don't take time. Read the instructions. Read the instructions out there, okay? All right, so we got some more openings here. All different types of openings. Double active lease is a great place for magnetic locks. So you see the, looks like an M680 on your double active leaf doors in your top left here, and then at the bottom left. But still, we need to make sure we're here in the code. Take a look at that magnetic lock on that door in the center. That's kind of low. That's kind of low. So be aware of that. I'm not, you know, that could be a problem there. And then delayed egress, making sure that we meet code is so important. That's why we're going to give you that resource, that little icon that's going to help you out, okay? All right. So inspections, like we're saying, right out of NFPA 101. And remember, if you have any code questions, you can look them up for yourself. ICCSafe.org is one place. And then you can go to NFPA 101, Chapter 7 talks about, you know, the installation, what you can and can't do, okay? So be aware of that. It's available to you online. So here's the inspection of the door, right at NFPA 101, door hardware release, electrically locked doors assemblies, door assemblies with special locking arrangement. It says annually, so we're not making this stuff up, annually, right out of the code, 7.2.1 and the rest of the numbers, okay? So be aware of that. All right, so let's take a look at another opening here. All right, so we got our double active leaf doors. We got a single magnetic lock on each door. Again, this is probably going to have to be, you know, 2009 plus code because it has a, looks like a dual sense bar on it. And you got your cords on your side. Again, we're going to recommend to put those cords up at the top, but you know, it's a very common thing to see them on the sides. All right. Also, another recommendation with those armor door cables, Alarm Controls has a very good die cast, made out of metal versus plastic, you know, door cord loops. A little bit more beefier, it can take a lot more abuse, last a lot longer, okay? So take advantage of those differences. So let's take a look at our magnetic lock selection checklist here as we kind of wrapping this thing up. First thing we want to do is understand the security level. Know the mounting conditions. What brackets do I need? What materials am I dealing with? Determine codes and ratings of those openings. Know the skill level and what tools you need. And then always ask questions. That's the thing, ask questions. That's an important thing. And then that Assa Abloy support that's available to you. You got myself, you got Katie, you got Roger, you got Ruben. You can go 1-800-MAGNETIC-LOCK. We got those great warranties, Assa Abloy Academy. Google those guys. There's another resource available to you. You can take additional online courses that are absolutely free. That's the magic word, free to you. Okay, so doesn't cost you a thing, just a little bit of time and you get yourself a little bit smarter. And then those resources, built, B-I-L-T. If you have not installed one of our solutions, we have over 95 solutions inbuilt. You just type in the product and it gives you step-by-step graphic 360-degree rotation like you're at the door, installation instructions. And then the award winner here, the Assa Abloy customer support app. Absolutely download this to your phone. If you ever have any questions at all, use the Assa Abloy customer support app. You can chat with us. You can live stream with us. So it turns on your camera and you can show us the door, whatever problem you're having, or you need a recommendation for a solution, absolutely use this, absolutely free. Take advantage of that. Nobody in the industry has this. And it's right to our tech support that's in Phoenix, right? In Phoenix, we're not outsourcing to some other place. It's in Phoenix. You're talking to an American, okay? when you're talking to our products in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so take advantage of that. Download that. It's on Android and Apple. So definitely use that resource. And then we're going to wrap this bad boy up. We want to make sure everybody stays safe, stay healthy. We look forward to eventually seeing you guys in the field for face-to-face classes. I hope you guys had a great time.